We are now live. Good evening, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to another episode of Live with Jina, Becoming a Better You. I am one of your hosts, Kevin Talbot, the co-founder and chief creative director of Crown Media Group, coming at you. What up, everybody? Happy Wednesday. I see y'all pulling up to the live. We are live tonight. Hope everybody's been having a great week so far. How y'all feeling? Oh, y'all are in here today. I love it. I love when we get together on Wednesdays. Live with Jina, Becoming a Better You. Everyday tips to help you prevail in your everyday life. And this is week 4. Thank you to everybody who's been tuned in, who's been coming to the first, 3 episodes or 3 weeks of the workshop. We've been getting some amazing feedback, and that's really what we do it for. We do it for y'all. I'm saying, because that's really what we created this for, so we can help everybody elevate and take their game to the next level. What up, everybody? I see y'all pulling up to the live. Let's get it situated. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Share the live. Because that's what we doing here. We all getting better together. That's what this is for. Hope everybody's been having an amazing week. This week has been dope so far. We've had a lot of amazing things happening on the production side. Tiffany, what's up? I see you. Welcome. Tiffany's on here every week. Tasha, greetings. Everybody's pulling up. I don't know if the feed is going out late, because I'm saying usually I'm on it at 7, but it's like 7:02 right now. Y'all pulling up. Okay. All right. I think the main event has arrived. The #1 best-selling author, Ginati. Hola, Ginati. Greetings and salutations. I like that, Tasha, because that's how I speak to Earthlings as well. All right. Let's put our hands together and let us get ready to welcome.
Hi, Kevin. How are
#1
you?
best-selling author, Ginati.
How's everyone doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. Let me get situated. I'm here. I'm situated. What is up, everyone? Welcome
Kevin.
to week 4. Yes, you hear me? You good?
I'm good. Do you hear me?
Yes, I hear you loud and clear.
Perfect.
Loud and clear.
I see everybody's joining, which is amazing. How was your day today, Kevin?
My day was great today. It was a pretty chill day. I had like 1 or 2 meetings. We added 1 or 2 new pieces to our team today, so I had to get them situated. And then I ran 1 or 2 personal errands, and now I'm here with you. How's your day?
This is the best time of the day. Going live with Jina.
Yes, it is. It is our favorite time.
No, I'm excited. I'm here just situating the house to have quietness to be able to talk. We have kids here, we have visitors, and just running around making sure that I'm speaking to my audience. So many people were kind of texting me and saying, hey, are you going live today? And so some people DM me, which was really awesome. So I'm really excited that people are finding value in what we're doing. And God always puts people in your path that you specifically can speak to. So everybody has somebody, and we have these people. So I'm excited for the people that have joined and are, have seen all the workshops, and they're actually on live now, which is really amazing. They could click on it and see some of the lives and catch up for today. So yes.
Yes, for sure. And exactly 100%. I agree with what you just said, because somebody said it to me like this last week. They were like, God is the source and the people are the channels. He always gives us what he needs to give us through the people who are in our lives. And
Beautiful.
so I want to share that with you based off what you said. So that's what's up, of course. And obviously I agree. Of course, thank you to everyone who's been giving us amazing feedback. We're glad to hear that you're getting value from this, because this is why we do this, live with Jina, Becoming a Better You.
Yes.
Points to help you prevail in your everyday life. That's the goal. Is we always trying to overcome, always trying to get better, and trying to help each other get better. So let's get right into it. We are at episode 4, in our 4-week workshop, where we're talking about how to get closer to your goals and vision. You know, week 1, we spoke about how to develop a vision.
Yes.
Week 2, we spoke about planning your work, working your plan.
Yes.
Last week, we spoke about getting together and organizing your team. And now, in our finals week, we're getting ready to embark on our journey. And we're talking about mind right, grind right. What's the right mindset now that you have all these pieces in place as you embark on your journey? So let's start right there, Gina. You know, talk to us. You know, what is the importance of having the right mindset?
You know, I think that I think I speak about this in every episode that we've been talking about, and is that we're not really taught how to think right for us, right? We're taught go to school, get a good education, get a good job, and we're kind of like we go through life as robots, and sometimes we don't think for ourselves. Sometimes we don't realize that we can control what dormants in our mind. Now, what I want to share is that we really can't control some thoughts, right? Like you can't control a bird going into a nest, but you could control if that nest stays there and if that bird stays in that nest. You could control that. And that's what I want to share with people, that you know, a lot of times we can't control the thoughts. You know, what's going on with COVID-19, what's going on with the pandemic, what's going on with worlds right now, everything that's going on with the world. We can't control that. We look at the television, we get anxiety. Somebody got sick, somebody we knew passed away. All of those things we can't control. But what we could control is how long is that thought going to dormant in your mind? Correct. And the way we control that is about what we decide to put in our minds and what we decide to read, who we decide to associate with, who we decide to be around, that's going to allow us to either keep those negative thoughts in our mind, or we can change those thoughts. So it's very important for us to understand that we do have control how long that thought is going to stay in your mind. Yes. All right. So a lot of times it's like, oh my God, you know, somebody just fell. Obviously, you're going to panic. Oh my God, are they okay? Right? But after that, are you going to stay in that panic? Or are you going to say, okay, something wrong. Let's go to the emergency. Let's do something about this. And it's going to get better, and let's move on from that. And a lot of times we stay in those thoughts and we dormant in those thoughts. Mm-hmm. And what happens is that it causes everything that's going on right now in the world. Anxiety, depression, sadness, suicide. It causes these thoughts that eventually become, they dormant in your heart from your mind, they dormant in your heart, which eventually become action. Then it becomes a habit, then it becomes character. Right. Okay, 100%. So it becomes who you are eventually if you don't stop it in the thought.
Yes.
So that's what we want to talk about, because you know, we have a vision, right? We got the vision. Oh God, I know what I want to do. Then we have a plan of action, which is exciting, right? But then thoughts come into your mind. Can I do this? Am I worth it? Am I good enough? Am I supposed to do this? Maybe I made a mistake. Maybe it was my emotions. And what happens is that your biggest enemy is not your haters. Your biggest enemies are not the people that are around you. The biggest enemy is what you allow to think about in your mind that's going to stop you and procrastinate you from becoming the person that you're supposed to be, the better version of yourself.
Yes.
Right?
100%.
So I just want the audience to understand this. We're all in a process, Kevin. You're in a process. I'm in a process. Whoever has 1 million, 10,000 followers, you know, whatever, the biggest person on Instagram that has the biggest following, they're also in a process.
Right.
Thank God. When we wake up in the morning, every single day, we wake up in the morning and God is allowing us to become a better version of ourselves.
Yes. And of course,
and that's what I want to share.
I love that you shared that, because, you know, one of the things that I've always learned is that, you know, everything starts in the mind, right? Like our thoughts are real things. And I remember, I forgot what book it was, or somebody I heard talking said, you know, your mind is like a garden, right? But what happens if you leave a garden unattended? Weeds will grow in your garden, right?
That's right.
Dandelions, all those things, you got to keep pulling those up. But if you take care of your garden, you know, if you water it every day, you you trim it and you hedge it when you have to, and you
Yep.
keep that upkeep, your mind will
Yep.
stay fresh and it'll grow the things that you want to grow. So yeah, 100% I agree with you. You know, what thoughts are you allowing to stay long enough in your head? You know,
Right.
and I'm glad that you shared that. And I want to say shout out to everyone who is joining us now for episode 4, who just joined us in the middle. Welcome, welcome. What's up, Ruby? Welcome. Yo, everybody's pulling up. I like this. I like
Yeah,
it.
that's awesome.
So I want to
You
encourage
know that
everybody. Go ahead.
it's funny because the third week, right, we were talking about building a team or finding a team or attracting the team that you need to grow. And I was listening to a story today that I thought was pertinent to this conversation. And it's, who are you flying with? Like, are you who are you connecting with, right? And they were talking about a story of an eagle, and they were saying that the eagle is like flies the highest. It does.
Yep.
I don't remember how many miles up it flies, but it flies up. And usually when they're up there, okay, they don't see flocks of birds flying. Usually they might see another eagle,
Right.
and they can fly together as the other eagle. But usually when you're going somewhere, you gotta get in contact with people that are also going somewhere, because
100%.
usually it's not with the crowd. Usually you're going to be alone. You
Yeah.
need to stop praying you need to stop praying, like, you need to stop praying to Jesus, I want to fit in. And you need to start praying to Jesus that I want to stand out.
100%.
You
Yeah,
know?
that's we were definitely created to do that, you know, and I agree. I think, you know, too many of us, you know, going back to what we were talking about for this week, is like the things you put in your mind, you know, that definitely, it's always like whatever you put in, you always get out. You know, it's just
Yes.
the same thing. Last week we spoke about bank accounts and relationships being like
Yes.
bank accounts. You can't take
Yes.
out something you didn't put in. Same thing. So it's like if you constantly put a certain thing in your brain, you know, in certain times, what do you expect to come out? So the same thing here. It's like, you know, I think a lot of the stuff in media and today's culture, they feed you certain things that make you want to, you know, fit in, when in all actuality, we were designed to do the opposite, which is really stand out and do things on our own. So actually that leads to another question that someone submitted last week for this week. And also I want to encourage everybody who's in the live this week to please share your questions, whatever questions you have. If you see the question mark, the Q&A feature next to the comments, submit your questions there. And as we get towards the end of, you know, the workshop, we'll start answering those questions. But this was a question submitted from someone last week. So what are some things that you can actually do to develop and strengthen your mindset?
So, first of all, who are you associating with? What are you reading? I know what we have spit out a couple of books here that were amazing to really start changing your mindset. Um, you know, music is beautiful. I love the music. I mean, we just finished our backyard, and my daughter loves to put music out there. We have a swim spot, and we're really excited about it. But, you know, music is overrated, because a lot of times we spend our time listening to music instead of listening to things that are going to educate us, that are going to change our mindset about something. A lot of times we're disappointed because we expect something that's not a reality. For instance, right? We want to fit in when in reality we should be standing out. We want to be in the midst of the crowd. We want to be average when God is calling us to not be average, you know, to be better than average, to do something better with yourself. And when we understand that when you stand out, you're going to be alone, you're not going to be that disappointed. When you stand out, when you understand that standing out means you're going to lose friends, you're going to lose family, people are going to talk about you, you're not going to be that disappointed. When you realize that you get up in the morning and you want to get something done, you're going to get distractions, and you know that. So if you capture that and say, you know what, I'm not going to procrastinate. I'm not going to do what I have to do because I have a goal in mind. I'm going to wake up in the morning. Actually, before I go to sleep, I'm going to write my goals out of what I'm going to do the next day. When I wake up in the morning, I'm going to read them. I'm going to make sure that I get them done. And
Right.
nothing is going to distract me from that. And what happens is that we wake up, and honestly, I have the perfect story today
Mm-hmm.
about the whole situation. I know we had the live today. I know I had a lot of things, but I made a big boo-boo this week. All right. And I'm going to tell
Okay.
on myself, and that's okay. And I made a
Okay.
big boo-boo because I've been doing a podcast for those that have been following me, The Prevail Point. And we are up to the 22nd episode, which is incredible, amazing. I started the episodes. Yeah, I'm very proud of myself. I started the episodes when we were in the epicenter of what was going on here in New York, and everybody had stopped working. It was sometime in March, and God had called me and, started giving me the words to encourage people when people were dying all around us. And a lot of pastors, my mom is a pastor. I help her with the church, and, a lot of pastors were dying, and it was crazy because it was real, right?
Right.
And God called me. And every week on Tuesday, if you are following me on Spotify, on Anchor, on Apple, every Tuesday
Mm-hmm.
you get a
Mm-hmm.
new podcast from me. This week, I hope you're still waiting for it, but it's not out. And I'm gonna tell you why.
Talk to us.
Because I screwed up. I screwed up. I'm not gonna beat myself over it for a couple of days, maybe 1 or 2 days, because I know that people are listening to me, and the person that does the podcast for me, he's actually gracious enough to tells me how many times it's been downloaded and people listening to it and people subscribing, which is really amazing. All the glory be to God. But this week, episode 22 is still up here. And I promise my audience that you're going to get episode 22 by tomorrow. You are going to get it. But a lot of things that are excuses really stop me from really sitting down and doing my podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And the goal is, when that happens to you, how soon are you going to turn around and fix it? Right? For me, it's been one day. I got to fix it. I screwed up. And the way you fix that is by understanding what are you putting in your mind. Like, I know I have an audience. God has given me a gift. I'm speaking to people. People's lives are changing. People are calling me, texting me, messaging me through Facebook, through Instagram, through Twitter, all of that. Hey, that word that you just said, right? We have these
Right.
motivational minutes.
Right.
It uplifts me. And I was like, I can't stop with the distractions that are going on around me to continue the vision that I have in front of me.
Got
What
you.
happens is,
And that's actually, I'm sorry to cut you off here. That's actually an interesting thing that you shared, because, it definitely goes back to, what we spoke about week one, right? About like keeping the vision clear. And it goes back to reiterating, like, okay, some of the things that can help keep you focused is that once you develop that vision and that plan, is that you have to keep it in front of you, right?
that's
Like
right.
what Jina is saying right now, it's like, okay, I created a game plan that every week my podcast was going to come out. And for something that somehow, some way this week, you lost sight of that vision, you lost sight of that focus, and now it puts you in a position where you're behind on your goals, but you're also aware enough to recognize that. Actually, let me ask you this, because a lot of people aren't that self-aware. One of the things that I've learned, I can say my personal testimony, is one thing I've actually strengthened recently within the past year, 2 years, is meditation. And one of the things I learned in my meditation practice is it's really about understanding your mind and how your mind works. Some people are
Okay.
misconstrued. They think it's about, shutting your mind off, but it's impossible to shut your mind. If you shut your mind off, then that's not good at all. That must mean a lot of other things are going to be shut off as well. But what you were saying just now, I mean, when the first question we asked is like, those thoughts that are running, right? Those thoughts are going to come, but it's up to you to decipher and filter out and say, okay, this is a real thought, or, maybe I'm thinking too much into that. And actually, it made me want to ask you, how did you develop that? Everybody's different, but like some people just can't realize that, when they're in a negative thought pattern. For
Mm-hmm.
you, how did you develop that skill?
Well, I started meditating in the Word of God. That's my meditation. Like, you have to be careful when you meditate, that, like you say, you can't just blank out. Oh, like, what are you doing? You're allowing things to come into your mind that are not of God. So I started meditating in the Word of God and understanding who I was. A lot of this goes down to understanding who you are in Christ. for me, I kind of understood that God had a purpose in my life, and that there was going to be evil all around me, and that this world was going to was going to try to destroy me, and the devil and everything else. So I understood that in my mind, like, God, you have chosen me, and I actually believe that you have chosen me. So there's a belief in my heart of understanding, regardless of what goes on around me, I gotta stay focused, because whatever you focus on grows. And if I focus on the negative is gonna grow. But if I focus on the positive is gonna grow. So I chose to focus on the word of God and what he said about me. That he had blessings for me, that he created me for greatness, that he had a purpose in me being in this earth, right? That he had given me a gift so that the people that were around me can change who they are. So I always have kept that in front of me, understanding that, you know what? Life is going to hit you, but it's up to how you look at life. I usually say you're in a struggle, coming out of a struggle, going into one. You know what? Instead of struggle, let's talk about opportunity. You're either in an opportunity, coming out of an opportunity, or going into one. Because every struggle is an opportunity for you to get better. Every situation you confront yourself is something for you to reach another level so that you can learn. And I think we spoke about this before. If you understand that everything you go through, there's a purpose, and the purpose might not be for you. The purpose might be for somebody else. You know, the purpose might be God is making you go through this. He's healing you. He's making you better. He's restoring you. He's giving you the ability to forgive, to live the best days of your life, which is what the book is about, so that eventually I could be here telling you, hey, I know you went through that abuse. I know you went through that. I know people are hating on you. I know you've been hurt. I know it wasn't your fault. I know that what you went through was maybe horrendous, but you can forgive and still live the best days of your life. So when I understood that in my life, and I understood who I was, you see, a lot of people are like, I don't know why I'm living. I don't know why I'm here. And you have that open mindset that you don't understand. But I knew, and I had an encounter with God. I had an encounter with the Lord Jesus Christ, and I'm not trying to preach, and I know I always do anyway, that I understood, like, wow, I am really meant for greatness, regardless of what goes on around me. What goes on around me does not change my path. What goes on around me enforces my path.
Nice. I
It
like that.
keeps me focused because I know that I'm doing something right.
That's what's up. All right. So, what I'm hearing here is like, we're talking about, you said you meditated on that word. It's like you instilled that word in you. In some cultures, another translation of that is affirmations. Let's talk about that. Like, how important is the spoken word and the things we actually say to ourselves?
Right.
A lot of people always talk about, like, okay, other people come in and other people say things, and that stuff gets to us. How important is what we say to ourselves on a day-to-day basis?
That's the most important thing. And I started talking about that in the beginning, where it's not what people say about you, is not what goes on around you, is what goes inside of you, what goes on inside of you. And a lot of times, unfortunately, we grow up in environments where our parents told us we weren't worth it, or our parents told us, you know what, you're crazy, you think different, you're not supposed to go do that. Don't try it because you're gonna screw up. You're gonna fail. And we've been told that since we're young. And there's something in our minds. It's like we're children, we're grown up children, but those comments are still in our minds, saying, you're not worth it. You're not meant to live, to get out of that neighborhood that you're in, or you're not meant to be great, or you're not meant to be a leader, or you're not meant for people to follow you, and what I understood was, like, the Bible says I'm the head and not the tail. I'm the lender and not the borrower. You see, so a lot of times I talk about in the podcast is the importance of the Bible. For me, is an instruction, is a book of instruction, is a book of guidance. Because when you understand who you are and you understand, wait a minute, I'm not supposed to be in debt. Why am I in debt? Let me change. Let me connect with people so that I could get out of debt. I'm not, I'm a leader. I'm not supposed to be following the crowd. They're supposed to be following me. And when you understand those words and you say, well, you know what? If I'm meant to be a leader, what book should I be reading that talks about leadership? Maybe I should follow John Maxwell. Maybe I should follow, ABC author. Maybe I have a passion about getting out of debt. Maybe that's my mission. Let me see how I could get out of debt and how I could teach others. And I'm just giving out examples, obviously.
Right.
But you need to understand, when you find out who you are, you start rejecting those words that have been told to you. And you start telling yourself that's a lie. Like literally, I am worth it. I am meant for greatness. I am a child of God. I'm not a liar. I'm not dishonest. Yeah, I could live in that house. I could have that car. I could be out of debt. I could be a doctor. I could be a lawyer. They said that I didn't know how to communicate, but maybe I could be a lawyer. They saying I don't know how to write, but I could be an author. They told me things. I mean, I literally went through that. My 8th grade teacher traumatized me. She told me I could not write. She literally did. So when God last year in July told me I was supposed to write a book, I started laughing. I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. And it was a thought that I didn't even have in my mind that I should write a book. And God told me, listen, it's not about your skills. It's about my skills. It's not about you. If you just give me the glory, I'm going to make you the #1 bestseller.
Right.
And that it happened. It was crazy. So and it's funny because I have been told, oh, you have a couple of errors in the book. And I do. I'm confessing it. Oh my God. I have 4 editors. There was still some errors in the book. Okay. And I apologize for those critical thinkers that instead of a dud, it said that. I'm sorry.
Right.
But the message went out. And I had to confront that I am an author. God wants me to be an author. God wants me to write a book. He wants me to write another book. He wants me to be a better version of myself. And I got to tackle it by doing it.
I love that.
You tackle your fears by doing your fears.
100%. 100%. I love that.
So I tackled my fear of writing by writing a book. I got help. I got a ghostwriter. I'm not saying I'm all that. I paid. I got a ghostwriter. I eventually wrote the whole book, though. The ghostwriter did guide me in a lot of things, but it wasn't what I wanted her to write. So I ended up writing the whole book. But you have to tackle those fears by your affirmations. Wake up in the morning. I am worth it. Oh, I'm so tired. No, I'm not. I'm not tired. I'm getting up. I'm doing what I got to do. Oh, I got so much to do. Oh, my God. Before you even start your day, you're already stressed out because of what you're telling yourself. Yes. Instead of waking up and saying, no, I'm going to have a fabulous day today. I am going to be good. I'm going to accomplish what I wrote down in the goals. And if I don't, I will accomplish it the next day. I'm going to be at peace. I'm going to be at joy. I am going to, whatever affirmations you tell yourself is very important. And I can actually share it with you guys. I have one from 2009 that I is all wrinkled up and is all messed up of things that I have told myself of who I am and who I'm supposed to be.
No, that's amazing. And I want to say thank you for sharing that. And I think it is 100% important, things we tell ourselves, because I always have to think of it like our minds are like computers, right? Our minds are the most advanced computers, if you think about it, right? Like every single day, technology is trying to duplicate and mimic human beings and our minds. So you always have to remember that, like, you have the most powerful computer right here, like it's at your disposal. You have to program it to do what you want it to do, right? Like I could go out and I could spend $4,000 on a MacBook, but if it doesn't have the programs to edit videos, I can't edit videos on it no matter how much I spent for that MacBook. I have to program it to do that. So same things with our minds. And that's why I think it's important that you shared that you have to program your mind for success. And a lot of how we do that is going back to what you said earlier, is, with the things you put in your brain, obviously the books you read, things you listen to, whether it's, podcasts, audio books, even music, the television shows, all these things that you're putting in, the people that you associate with. That's why, we spoke about that last week. That was important, getting the right team around you. But then also at the end of it is, what do you say to yourself on top of that, right? Like you can have all the pieces in order, but if you're not saying the right things, it's not going to activate what's necessary to actually bring it to life. So that was a great point. We're at a halfway mark here. It's 7:30 p.m. I want to say shout out to
Ooh.
everybody who's here on the live. Make sure you share the live, share the live, share the live. You know, that little airplane button, press that airplane button and share it with somebody who you think could really benefit from this conversation, because
Yes.
that's what we're doing this for. And actually, I want to take this time to make two quick announcements. Actually, you talked about, books, a list of books that helped you throughout your
Yes.
career. Actually, it's been an ongoing conversation, but at some point with everyone who is joining the live on a weekly basis, we might develop a book club, but stay tuned to the end for that, because I'll see that every week when we're talking about books, somebody's either sharing a book that they read or they're talking about how a book impacted them. So be on the lookout for for that. That's what we're going to put together.
There's a book that really changed my mindset. And maybe we'll write it out, or DM it, or maybe we could
Actually,
share
why
it.
don't
But
you share? What's the name of the book?
so the name of the book is Switch on Your Brain by Carolyn Leaf. And she is actually, a doctor, a brain doctor. And she's amazing, talking about how you really can control how long things stay in your brain. And what she used to do, actually, she used to deal with people that have brain damage, maybe a car accident. And usually the studies used to say, hey, if you have brain damage, you're done, right? There's
Right.
no way of coming back. And she did studies in Africa, and she, for years, since the 1980s, and she developed a system where if you are brain damaged, depending on how you think, depending on what you say, depending on what you tell yourself, depending on what you're putting in your brain, you can actually tell your mind how to change. Okay, you could tell your brain how, your mind could tell your brain how to change. And it's incredible. I mean, it changed my relationship with my husband. It changed my relationships, because a lot of times you think that, oh, it's always going to be like that forever. And no, if you're here, it's because you still have an opportunity to get better. And every day you could create a better version of yourself, even if it's the smallest thing. Even if it's the tiniest thing, you could become better in whatever area you think you're struggling in. And I feel that was an awesome book. It was Switch on Your Brain by
Nice.
Karen Leaf. It's just a little gem out there. I'm not doing a promotion for her. She doesn't even know me. Hopefully she'll see this one day. She is an awesome author. She is very well renowned. She actually has a podcast. One day I'll be in her podcast. Maybe she'll hear this and say, hey. But we are, all of these things are really opportunities, Kevin. Is opportunities for us. Is opportunities for us to get better. Is opportunities for us to say, hey, listen, I screwed up, right? I just told on myself today, I screwed up. But
Right.
you know what? You guys are gonna get my podcast, and right after this, I'm gonna shoot a little cute video, and I'm gonna share, why. And but a lot of times we beat ourselves up, and we stay in that position of beating ourselves up. And you know what? We're human. We mess up. We screw up. You know what? Thank God that God has forgiven us. We got to forgive, because we make
Right.
mistakes. And if God's forgiven us, who are we not to forgive somebody else? And I know it's hard sometimes. Don't get me wrong. It is hard. Some people are evil. Some people do things in spite. They want to hurt you on purpose. I've been going through that for the last 7 months. They don't think they did anything wrong. They invite everybody else. They don't invite you. It's fine. I'm okay with it. I'm at peace. But you gotta find that peace within yourself, so that you can not allow those things to distract you. Because what happens is the devil uses all those things to distract you, not to become the better version of yourself. That's part of what happened this week. Something big happened in my life, and I'm gonna write about it in my next book, because it's monumental. And it took me to the point where usually the time that I do to take my podcast, I was doing something else, and I wasn't able to accomplish it. And then I woke up, and I was like, wait a minute, this is a distraction. Hold up. You are not
Right.
that important. I gotta move on with my life. I have a ministry. I have a goal. As long as my family, my immediate family, my husband, my 2 girls, my mom, my sister, as long as they there, and they supporting me, I am not going to allow this outsiders to distract me from what God has for me. And usually when God has something big for you, the whole world is going to come against you. And when you
100%.
overcome that, you get to the next level, you become better, and God is able to use you at a different level.
Right.
And
actually, that leads me to a good question here, because I love the fact that you're saying opportunity, right? And I think what holds a lot of people back is just their perspective on certain things, right? Like,
yes,
when challenges present themselves, we all know that, like you said, the person who's thinking, who has the right foot, right? Like, you're thinking forward. That person will say, like, okay, this is an opportunity for me to grow and stretch myself, right? But many people don't take that approach. Many people have more of the victim mentality, victor mentality. Perhaps, do you have any, like, maybe a personal story of, like, how you learned to get that kind of perspective and that approach, or maybe some people that helped you, whether it be a mentor or a book? How can somebody develop that victory mindset than a victim mindset?
I mean, I'm gonna be raw, Kevin. Could I be raw? Could I just be real?
Yeah, sure. You know
what? Everybody could be a victim, but the same way, everybody could be a victor. Everybody, everybody has gone through something, that somebody's hurt you. You a victim. They abused you. They made you feel bad. I was supposed to go to college, but this happened. I was supposed to do this, but that happened. I was supposed to start my business and I'm broke. Something always happens. But you know what? If that happened to you, that means God has given you the strength to overcome that. And the way you overcome it sometimes, Kevin, is standing up and saying, you know what? Look at yourself in the mirror and say, I'm not a victim. I'm a victor. And say those affirmations. You know what? I am beautiful. I am gorgeous. I have been created for greatness. And you got to look at yourself and have an attitude and be like, you know what? I'm tired of people dictating what's supposed to happen in my life. I will dictate what's going to happen in my life, not you, because you don't pay my bills. You don't take care of me. You don't live with me. I do that. So I will take charge of my life, and I'm not going to allow you or anybody else that thinks they have a control over me to be over my life. Could you say amen? Because somebody write amen.
Somebody better say amen.
Somebody better say amen. Because a lot, we think we're the only ones that have gone through it. We think we're the only victim. Oh, my father left me when I was 10. You know what? Some people don't even have a father. So get over it. My mother abused me. Okay, at least you had a mother. Maybe God brought somebody else in your life to be your mother. Accept them and let go of your mother that abused you. And a lot of times we focus on the problem instead of focusing on the solution that is right next to the problem. Right next to the problem is the solution. You're choosing not to look at it.
It's a fact. It's about a mindset.
Say again.
It's about your mindset. That's what we're talking about here in week 4.
You're choosing that. We have choices. You see, the Bible says you have a choice to pick good or evil. You have a choice to say good or evil. You have that choice. So if we have a choice to pick the bad, we also have the choice to pick the good. And God always brings somebody in your life. And we were talking about mentors, Kevin. I mean, God always puts somebody in your life. You just gotta open your eyes. You have to see. Sometimes you got to make a phone call and say, you know what? I really admire that guy. He has a great marriage. He has a great relationship with his parents. He doesn't know my name, but you know what? I know that my cousin knows him. I'm going to ask him for his number, and I'm going to call him, and I'm going to say, hey, my name is Joe, and I really admire you, and I think that maybe I will want to get close to you because I admire your family unit, and that's what I want to have. I promise you, if you do something like that, that guy is going to be like, are you serious? Oh my God, I would love to be your friend. I would love to tell you what I did. If you listen to me, I would love to tell you how I got a good family, how I have a good relationship with my children. I promise you, if you do that and you seek, you will find. The Bible says 100%. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will open. A lot of us are not knocking.
They're not knocking.
You need to knock.
Knocking. Nah, that's a fact. And no, and I agree because everything is about your perspective and your mindset, right? Like just like how you're saying, like you could get that phone number, and then somebody who's thinking left-footed, they're not thinking about opportunities, they're not thinking about advancing or moving forward. They're thinking about all the obstacles. They're operating from fear. They're like, oh, but what
Right.
if he doesn't like me? This isn't it.
Right.
Those thoughts will limit you. Those thoughts those will crush you. You will never move forward. Like you
This
gotta
is a
just
good one, Kevin. The
listen
answer
to
is no until you ask.
100%. 100%. And we already heard no before. So it's like, what's one more time? But that's what somebody who's thinking with the right mindset, that's how they operate. They say, okay, you know what? Let me take this shot. Okay, yo, let's get to the comments real quick. The comments
Oh
we
my
had Kirk
God.
today. I'm about to pass around the collection plate because we had
You
Kirk
got,
up in here today.
listen, it's all gonna go to Crown Media because you guys are
Don't say that.
amazing.
Nah, you can't say that aloud. Nah, actually,
Yeah.
what it was, actually, you know what? And it's funny because I think this is a good time to make an announcement that for next week's event, we're actually looking to do a vision board party. Because
Yes.
week one we spoke about the importance of developing a vision. Right now, everything we're talking about is how to gear up and stay focused for your vision. And right now we're talking about keeping the right mindset and keeping it in front of you. And I know the past few weeks, one of the tools that we said that's helped many of us is a vision board. It's something that is a physical representation
Yes.
or digital.
Pictures.
Because you could do it on your
Amazing.
iPad, you could do it, or put them on your fridge or something. Some kind of piece of work that shows, okay, this is the things I want to accomplish in my life, and keeping them in front of you. So we're actually be on the lookout, stay to the end, because we're going to be putting together an event for those who want to join. We're actually going to have a live Zoom vision board
That's
party.
gonna be amazing. I'm
That's
gonna
gonna
walk
be
around
dope.
and I'm gonna show you guys all my pictures and everything.
That's going to be dope. So, all right, so we're getting ready to wind down here. We're in the last few minutes of our show. It's been an amazing show. Once again, thanks to everyone who's been tuning in every single week. We are on week 4, episode 4 of Live with Gina, Becoming a Better You. Everyday points to help you prevail in your life, and that's what it's about here. So once again, if anybody has any questions, use the Q&A feature. It's to the right of the comments button. We got a couple more minutes here. Now we want to answer some questions. We answered a number of questions that were submitted in advance, and
Yes.
actually I think I'm gonna ask a question because for
Go ahead.
me, I understand the importance of why putting the right things in your mind, because in scenarios when you get hit with the pressure, obviously whatever's inside comes out. It's like, I don't know I think we heard it before, like at a workshop we went to, where it's like, okay, if you squeeze an orange, what comes out?
Orange.
And everyone was like, oh, orange juice.
Right,
And
right,
the
right,
person,
right.
the speaker was like, no, actually whatever's inside. And what you're saying is like, when you get squeezed in life, what's inside of you, right? Like when the pressure is on, what's coming out of you? And so you're talking a lot about, when you have that, when you train your mindset, when you get hit by life, the positive things come out, right? Like if you say those affirmations every day, I am amazing, I am creative, I am talented, I am worthy, I deserve everything that I'm working towards in life. When you say those things to yourself on a repeated basis, when life hits you, those things will come out. Shout out to everybody who's on the check-in. Everybody's showing mad love. Tasha is on the
That's
check-in.
awesome.
We have Tiffany on the check-in. Who else on the check-in? Kaylin's on the check-in. Kaylin shared a book that she read. She said Think and Grow Rich.
Oh, that's a good one.
Was an amazing book that she read. She said it taught her that thoughts are real and powerful things, but as long as they are mixed with definite purpose and persistence, they will translate to your goal and vision. That's 100.
Listen, as a man thinketh, so is he.
That's for sure. Actually, in fact, let me ask you. I'm gonna ask you a story, maybe. Cause I like this. I asked this one week when I was like, what's one thing you put on your vision board that kind of manifested? What's one thing? Shout out Kid Capri on the check-in. We see you. Welcome. Shout out my guy LJ. I see you. Everybody's on the check-in tonight. I like this. All right. Share with us a time where there was something that you said to yourself that actually came to fruition.
Something I told myself that came into fruition.
Yeah, like maybe like an affirmation or something that you repeated to yourself enough that actually became true.
So if you guys read my book Prevail, okay, I'll tell you a little bit about it, but hopefully if you haven't gotten it, get it because it's amazing. But my parents' marriage wasn't the best, okay? Long story short, I ended up getting married and got a divorce as well. And I was extremely devastated because that was never a thought of mine ever. Like, I remember praying when I was 13, 14 years old, God, bring me a guy. I want to do things right. I want to, have this Cinderella marriage. And I know there is no Cinderella marriage, okay? Don't scream at me. I know that's fictitious. And those Cinderella movies sometimes, drive our girls crazy. But I wanted to have a unit, right? A husband, some person that we could communicate, that we could build a life together.
Right.
And got married. Well, I was with the guy for 2 years, 2.5 years, got married, huge wedding. I looked like a Cinderella. Seriously, my gown was rocking. Okay. I mean, it was beautiful. It was everything I dreamed for, wedding, everything like
Right.
that. And my marriage lasted 9 months. I was devastated. I really thought this was one of my darkest moments in my life. I really thought I could never get back up. I really thought that I could never survive it. When we broke up, I was 2 months pregnant. And I was like, I never even thought of raising a child by myself, or not having a father, the child not having a father. I mean, I grew up with my parents. It was abusive, but it was a very nuclear family. My dad was there, my mom,
Right.
my brothers, my sisters. We grew up together, very close knit. And I couldn't just imagine what it was like. I'm like, no guy's ever gonna want me. I'm pregnant. I'm all these thoughts that you go through. Oh my God, I'm not, whatever. And you get all these thoughts like the way I grew up. Wait till you get married. I'm like, I'm used already. I'm messed up. I'm pregnant. Nobody's gonna want me. And it's sad that I thought that, but I grew up in a
Mm.
church where, if you spoke about sex, like you were in sin. And sex is a beautiful thing if you do it in the right content, and you do it in
Right.
marriage and you do all that stuff. But anyway, that was one of the darkest moments in my life. I thought I was never going to get out of that.
Right.
And I remember focusing my attention to the center of my body, which was my belly. And I remember thinking, if this is what if this is what's supposed to happen, because it took me a long time to realize that I needed to separate, okay? Because I was still trying to work it. Well, let's work. My daughter was already 2 years old, and then nobody knew what was going on. I was 2 months pregnant, and people found out what was happening. My daughter was 2 years old. That's how long I was like holding on to, no, this is going to work. Everything is going to happen. And long story short, the divorce happened, things happened. And I remember telling myself, I will have a great family. Even if my daughter's going to have a stepdad, I will find a husband, and God will give me a husband that's going to treat my daughter like that's his daughter.
Right.
And I will have a blended family. And this was before I met my husband. Okay. I will have a blended family, and it's going to work. And as much as everybody told me that never works, a stepfather is going to be hatred, there's going to be abuse, and because that's what I saw, I kept on telling myself, Kevin, I will have a nuclear family, even though it will be blended, even though my daughter's gonna have a stepdad, even though I might have other children, but they're gonna be with each other like their sisters, not half sisters. They're gonna be with each other like their sisters, and my husband's gonna love me. He's gonna love her. We're gonna have that good blended family. And it took time for me to get there, and we're still working on it. Don't get me wrong,
Right.
but that reality of my thought of saying I will find someone that's gonna love my daughter. I remember when I met Jay, and I remember my daughter was probably three years old, and probably weeks later, we really don't know. We try to pinpoint. My daughter's 18 now, gonna be 19 in October. We were trying to pinpoint like when was it that she started calling him daddy. There's still people in my life that don't know that's a stepdad. They actually find out when I tell them because they think that's her dad. They actually say, wow, she looks more like him than she does you. I'm like, okay, you know. Like, I'm telling you, and this is not a lie. This is no joke. This is like, I'm not making this up. And it was just a thought that became reality because I kept on telling that to myself, that although we had crisis and although we even had to go to counseling to figure things out and we had to do certain things, and my daughter had her own, that's her story to share, but she's had her own issues with her dad and stepdad. She was able to look at my husband and say, that's my dad.
Nice.
And it wasn't a stepdad. That's my dad. And that's not my stepdaughter. That's my daughter. And both of my daughters, they fight like they both 8 years old. They act like they both 18 when they together. I don't know what they're gonna be. They're gonna be 8 or 18 today. But they're sisters. They're not half sisters. They're not stepsisters. They're sisters. And that was something that I want to encourage people, that sometimes life throws buckets at you, throws rocks at you, throws, oh my God, like you think you can't breathe. But if you keep on believing that you were created for greatness, and whatever you're going through is going to eventually help somebody one day, and God is going to hold you through it. I got to tell you, in that process, God was carrying me. He was carrying me because thoughts of suicide came to my mind. I was like, should I abort this baby? I'm being transparent.
No,
she
for
was
sure.
only 2 months. I had the opportunity.
No, for sure. And it's like, I actually remember that when I was reading your book, and I was like, I thought it was fascinating how when these things were happening to you in your life, that you automatically thought like, okay, what is it about me that's causing these things? But I don't want to get too into that because y'all should go and actually read the book.
Read the book.
But go get that book. So
but it was those thoughts, Kevin, to answer your question. It was those thoughts that now I could sit back and say, wow, I could be at my swim. I'm gonna post some pictures afterwards, so like them. All
right, so
where we at.
We got like 2 minutes here.
Go ahead.
And actually, I want to get this last question in because it flows very nicely based off of what you just said. Right. So you were in these things were happening to you, but you kept speaking to yourself. So this question was submitted. What is your favorite way to reset your mind? So in 30 seconds to 45 seconds, maybe a minute, try to answer that question. Best way to reset your mind.
Prayer. I wake up, I pray, I put music on, whatever I'm going through after prayer, I try to find a video on YouTube. If I'm being hated on, let me find something. How do I overcome that? If I'm having a problem with the podcast, let me try to overcome that. If I'm having a family problem, how could I overcome that? The media nowadays is so open. All you gotta go is YouTube and research, and after, I gotta make sure my mind is right. Like, I don't want to hate people. Sometimes I feel like I want to hate you because you don't change, but you don't want to hate people. You want to be honest. You want to be empathetic. You want to try to get in their feet. Sometimes people do things to you and it's not on purpose. They're going through their own pain. Sometimes people hurt you, but hurt people. So they hurt themselves. And you got to learn how to detach yourself from them and say, you know what? I know they didn't really mean that. I know it's personal because it was directed at me, but they got to go through their own issue. Let them go through it. And I'm not going to take what they did to my heart and make me bitter, right? Like I said before in one of them, instead of making it bitter, make you better, and everybody's going through something. And if you understand and put yourself in their shoes sometimes, say, okay, I understand what they did that, and move on. Maybe that's not the right person. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Now, because y'all was about to wrap you up because you was on that 30-second.
Oh, okay.
There. But that's great.
Resetting your mind is important.
My favorite way to reset my mind is actually exercise. I know that sometimes, like, I'm going
that's
a great exercise could freshen things up. So with that being said, we will end on that note. Thank you to everyone who tuned in to episode 4 of Live with Jina, Becoming a Better You. Before we get out of here in 10 seconds or less, Jina, tell them where they can follow you and stay up to date on your book, your podcast, and all the amazing things you're doing.
Awesome. Thank you guys, everybody, for tuning in. I am on Instagram at Prevail the Book, at Jina Arce-Cotto. You can follow me there to just know a little bit more personally about me. Facebook, author -- Jina Arce-Cotto. on Facebook or Jina Arce-Cotto. You could find me there. My podcast is the Prevail Point. You could find that on Anchor, Apple, Spotify. And hey, we're coming out with motivational minutes every Monday, which is amazing. Did I miss anything?
Nah,
No.
you hit it spot on. And if y'all can, while you're at it, make sure y'all follow us. I am Crown Media. You can follow me personally. I'm Shot by Smooth. That's how you stay up to date on all the amazing things we're producing, a lot of which is genius stuff. So, and make sure you stay tuned, and we'll see you next Wednesday at 7 p.m. for the next episode of Live with Gina. Everybody, make sure you stay tuned and follow her, because we're going to put out the announcement for next week's Vision Board party on Zoom.
Follow I Am Crown Media. They are amazing. Kevin, you are like the best host ever. Follow them. Follow them. Follow them. It's amazing. Thank you guys so much. And until next week, it's going to be hot. It's going to be a hot topic next week for sure.
Yes, it will. Everyone stay tuned. We appreciate you guys. See you soon.
Thank you. Blessings. Bye.